Slide to the left.
Slide to the right. Crisscross.
Crisscross. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize you pressed a button. Let us know where you're streaming from this evening. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
What is this?
You and the dog can do this.
Nobody wants your marital advice, Phoenix. Nobody's. Come on. There you go. All right.
Let us know where you're streaming from. Let us know where you're streaming from.
We have an awesome topic today.
Mm-hmm.
This evening.
We just had dinner.
Yes.
It was good too.
It was delish. That chef tonight.
Why?
He need to come back.
Well, you know, if we can make him come back if the right environment.
The right environment.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna jump in and we're gonna get in.
No, like you just talk about this chef coming back.
Well,
I'm joking.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Tonight we're talking about 10 ways or 10 keys to maintain your relationship. We're not going to be on long, but we're going to be strong. Praise the Lord.
All right. Number one, communication.
What I need from you is understanding.
Yes. Communication is like one of the foundational things. Trust, communication. Those are some of the foundational things for marriage. A healthy, successful
If you don't deal with your
marriage.
issue deals with you. So you have to communicate, and you'll never change what you don't confront.
Right.
So you have to be able to deal with issues, communicate about the issues to change issues.
I think it's key to identify what your weaknesses are and your strengths are with communication so that you can identify issues and then strategically work on them together as a couple.
Number two, this is so key. Accept disagreement. You are not always going to agree, and you got to be cool with it.
No.
Yes.
But I want him to understand me and agree with everything. That's it, because I'm right.
You think you're right, but you're wrong.
I'm right all the time.
No, you're not. I know I'm right. I know God and I'm right, and you're not right because I know God and I'm right.
That's what both of you all are thinking.
Yes,
because
I know
it's
I'm
both
right.
perspectives.
I'm
Your
right.
perspective is right, and my perspective is right.
I'm right all the time. So you have to come to the conclusion that there'll be times and seasons where you guys don't agree.
Right.
And you have to learn to disagree, but be agreeable.
Be okay.
Yeah. There's enough
not
things.
Not hold a grudge because they don't see your point of view the same way.
Okay, number three.
Respect your partner's wishes.
Sometimes we try to bogart and try to make people do things. But you got to respect their wishes. Not everyone, like I said, not everyone's going to see it the way you do it. And you have, if they want to do something different, you have to respect their wishes and not trip.
Yeah, it would depend on what that is.
Well, some people have control issues.
Right. Some people do that. And that's the only thing that you're talking about is like if your spouse has a control issue because.
Control.
You guys should come together. On some of the big issues, you should talk it out and
real talk.
Figure it out.
Number 4.
Build trust in your relationship.
Trust takes time. So if you're in a place where you trust your spouse, you have to understand that it takes years to build it and one situation to break it.
Right.
And once trust is broken, it takes time. And sometimes it never gets back to where you first started.
Right.
So you have to understand if you have broken trust, now you have to ask your spouse, boyfriend or girlfriend, do they want to move forward with you? Mm-hmm. If they want to move forward with you, what are the conditions of moving forward with you? Mm-hmm. What will have to change for this to work? Right. What won't you bring back up? Oftentimes when trust is broken, people are reminded of the things they've done. Now, if you continue to do the wrong thing, they're going to keep reminding you about the wrong thing. So you have to be able to say, if we're going to move forward, I'm going to forgive you.
Right.
Forgiving doesn't mean that you forget. Mm-hmm. Forgiving means you choose to not bring it up.
And sometimes when we're talking about trust, sometimes it's not the huge things. It's the little everyday things. If your spouse tells you, all the time they're going to do something and they don't do it, or they don't keep their word, or they haven't come through for you most of the time, you can't get upset with them if they do it anyway, because you don't normally do it, or you don't normally, fulfill requests.
Correct.
Or care about needs.
Correct.
Or whatever your track record is. If your track record doesn't, indicate that they can trust you in that area, don't get upset about it.
Correct.
Do something about it.
If you're not consistent,
you have to prove that you're trustworthy in all areas.
Number 5, be you. Be authentic.
Yes.
Oftentimes in the process of courting each other, we put on a front, we put on our best. And then oftentimes in the process of us going through marriage, we often change and we become slack, or you kind of let your hair down to be who you really are. No, be you.
Be you, boo.
Be you. Be authentic.
Right. I think too, as time goes by, I know we got married, we got together when we were very young, and it's not sometimes that, you're not being your authentic self. It's sometimes that you have changed, you've had life experiences and you've changed, and the prayer should be that you all grow together. So I just want to make sure we're covering all bases, because be authentic, always be you. And if you feel like you need to make a change in an area because maybe your perspective has changed on it, or you've grown in an area, that is going back to number 1, I believe, was communication. Communicate and let your spouse know, like, hey, I used to think this, but now I'm leaning toward more this, and this is why. So that way they're understanding you and they're able to grow with you.
Number 6, consult with each other on major decisions.
Oh my God, don't show up to the house with a new car.
Anything that needs a down payment, co-signer, credit check, needs to be talked about.
Needs to be talked about.
I'm going to say it again. Anything that needs a co-signer, down payment, or credit check, needs a conversation.
Come on now.
Because again, if you're married, you're tying your spouse to something.
Right.
Now, I know somebody say I can do it myself. My premise is it's respect. Communicate. If there's a major decision, communicate.
Right. It's going to affect both of us.
We talked about life and death. We talked about business. We talked about everything, but we communicate.
Right.
Even when we make big decisions financially, we say, okay, if this works out, cool. If it don't work out, cool. And we try to work everything out so whereas that we're in one accord.
Right. You can't throw something in the other person's face because they never included you on the decision.
Okay.
Everyone was included.
Don't be too dependent. And what I mean by that is you have to have some independence, but don't rely exclusively on your spouse. What I mean by that, I've seen relationships where a person's life revolves
around the spouse.
Okay. And then all of a sudden the spouse wants to shift. Now your whole world shifts because see, you orbit them. You haven't created your own orbit.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying for a woman or a man not to serve.
And when you're doing that, you're not being your authentic self either.
Correct. You're just trying to please them.
Right. And that's not who they fell in love with either.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
All right.
Well, there it is. I thought I had more. I had the wrong title.
Out of all the years that we've been doing this, it has gotten to be more and more rewarding. And we just so appreciate everybody that watches Friday Night Live and that shares and brings people to our YouTube channel. We so appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending Friday nights with us. And if you watch it later recording,
it's all good.
Appreciate that too. We love you guys. Remember,
love, laugh, and learn. I'ma holler at y'all.